welcome to Reaching Up, where our goal is to help you to know better, do better, and ultimately live better. It's the weekly talk show where we talk about things that can enhance your life, improve your everyday existence, and give you knowledge on things that can help you. Today, we're back at International Students, and we're talking about finding funding. I'm having a young man who's found over $200,000 to fund his education. A young man just like you. The only difference is he went looking for funding, and he knows some things that we can learn. Today, we're talking with Jeremy. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm very good, Nigel.
Great.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, tell me a little bit of if it's a myth or a reality that there's funding out there that people can access.
I think it might be a little bit of both. It's a myth because there's funding out there that people don't know about.
Okay.
But it could be a reality that there may not be enough for everyone that's looking. So
okay.
it's hard to tell. I was, fortunate to find something. So I can only speak for myself.
And that's what we wanted to talk about because you were able to find something. You were able to find funding. And for an international student, you were able to find funding.
Yes.
And that's where we have this big juxtaposition because a lot of people tell international students and tell people who want to come to school in the United States, it's difficult, you're not going to find money. What can you say to counter that argument?
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to be willing to ask for help. Go to the library, get books, and do some research.
Okay.
I think it also helps to know what you want to study because once you know what you want to study, you can narrow in on what types of funding are available for those particular fields and subjects.
Okay.
And we could talk about my field if you'd like. But
that's critical because if you can talk like that, or if you can talk about funding like that, it tells me that there's a path that we can follow.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit on the where you look, how you look, what to do part of this whole funding your educational dreams. Because, some time ago I interviewed a young lady who had over $250,000 in funding.
Okay.
That was an international student too. So here we hear from you that you have been able to find over $200,000. Where did you start out and what was your first step?
Well, I'm a unique situation in that I came as an international student in my teens.
Okay.
So I completed high school here, and I was able to take the entrance exam. In the Midwest, it's called the ACT.
Okay.
And in the East Coast of America, it's called the SAT.
Okay.
Those exams, if you score really well, you could go to Harvard almost for free.
And you know what's strange? Because abroad, in China, in India, in Guyana, in Trinidad, they're doing the SATs.
Right. Right.
In Ethiopia, they're doing the SAT. I spoke to a young lady recently in Kenya, and she's preparing for the SAT. And her question to me is, what is the first thing I need to focus on? And I said to her,
right,
pass the exam.
Right.
Get good grades on the exam.
Right.
So how did that help you?
Well, it helped me because I was able to do well, and it covered my tuition for all throughout undergraduate 4 years at 75%.
Wow.
So that's really a big deal.
So you only had to pay like minimum room and board, or
well,
what did you have to find?
I should say the other 25% was covered because of my church. My church was able to cover that. And then all I had to pay was room and board. And what I did was I worked on campus as a resident assistant in the dorms, those types of things. And I ended up living for free. So I was blessed and fortunate, absolutely.
Wow. And that's a good system.
Yes.
Because somebody else can learn that path.
Yes.
I spoke to a young lady who's primarily using that same system to go to Howard.
Okay.
She's an RA on campus.
Right.
And she's there living. The only thing she had to pay was room and board.
Right.
So she's going to school for free.
Right.
And that's $40,000 a year times 4.
Right. That's a lot.
So take the SATs, take the ACT.
That's one way to do it. Yes.
What about graduate programs? Did you take the GRE?
I took the GRE, and that you have to have a minimal score. That helped. With graduate school, just getting in is 90% of the battle. So you take the GRE, do well enough to be accepted by whatever school, and then the department finds the money for you.
That's so good.
It depends on what you're studying. If it's medical school or dental school, it's more challenging.
Yeah.
But for a PhD program, which is what I did,
So you did
it's easier.
a master's PhD
I did a
program.
master's, then a PhD in chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering.
Yes.
That's so good. How old are you, Jeremy?
I'm 34.
34.
I had to think about it.
I mean, and you're able to find all of this money so young.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's for people who didn't have the path I had, which was growing up here as a teenager. Knowledge is power. So this program hopefully can help someone to know.
And that's
SAT,
that's the
ACT is
ultimate
great.
goal. SAT, ACT, GRE.
Right.
And for persons who are not English speakers, they have to take the TOEFL.
Right.
And like I said to someone, you know, I had this bad experience with the TOEFL. They were
Okay.
saying, why? I grew up in an English-speaking country, and I had to take the TOEFL.
You
I
did?
know, I aced it, but I was like, you know, why did you make me have to take the TOEFL?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, visa requirements
Okay,
require that
okay,
I take
okay.
the TOEFL. I took the
Okay.
TOEFL. But we're going to be right back after this short break.